So here's the entrance for Blackpool Tram.
Hi here.
Morning.
Morning.
Oh, sorry.
Can I just ask you to sign in first, please? Just like to help from safety.
Because I've got my YouTube channel. Can I record it?
Yeah.
Great.
Paul? He's got his own YouTube channel.
Morning, Paul.
He said he's alright to record.
Yeah, of course you are. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
that's good. So
Hello,
I'll
that's
show you my
lovely.
channel.
No, how good's that?
So
We like YouTube.
yeah. So I've got a wider audience, 16,000.
Oh, that's
rediscovered to the world.
amazing. That we
And-
discovered the world.
and-
Wonderful.
And I'm not too far from you. I'm in Cotton, Preston.
Oh yeah, just
So-
10 miles or so away there, aren't you?
So are you happy for me to record?
Yeah,
So
welcome.
What's your name?
Paul Gallia.
Paul, this
Yeah.
is my first time here,
Oh,
you know, and
Welcome.
Can I just ask you if you
Of course
just
you
give,
can, absolutely.
if you can just provide some background and the history of this museum,
Yeah, absolutely right.
just an introduction, just what is this all about, and
Yeah.
how old is this?
How old is it? Wow, okay, well, yes, I'm now trying to condense that. So, well, welcome to Blackpool Tram Town. This is the original home of the double-decker trams in Blackpool. So anyone who's seen one of those old trams, this is where they were maintained and looked after. And the site that we're in now, this was all built in the 1930s. But some of the machinery, some of the equipment here, for example, the machinery behind you is 100 years old, because it came from other sites that were in Blackpool. It's an incredibly unique place. There are only 3 working depots in the world with double-decker trams in: Blackpool, Hong Kong and Alexandria in Egypt, and that's how unique it is. Sadly though, over the last 20 or so years, the site sort of got run down, and as we upgraded and had the new trams in Blackpool, they had a new depot built, which is all very digital and so on, whereas this one is very analog, as is you have to make everything yourself here. So we are here basically to bring life back into the building, to showcase this amazing space, raise money to refurbish the building and expand it into a tourist attraction.
Is that the first workshop of a tram in UK, or is there any oldest workshop?
That's a really good point. I'll ask John. John's one of our tour guides. John, is this one of the oldest working workshops for trams in Britain, would you say?
These were built in the 1920s, this building.
1920s.
Is that the oldest one in UK?
Probably, yes,
Probably
because
is, isn't it?
we used to build standard trams in here.
Yeah.
And a tram built here, is that supplied within UK or Europe as well, or somewhere outside?
I don't know about the Europe side because I've not done any of the Europe.
So all of these trams here were built in. Some were built in Preston, some were built in the UK, but they were built a long time ago. So as you can see, very Art Deco, 1930s and so on. Those manufacturers have long
So this
gone.
is around World War II,
Yeah, just before World War II.
before World War II.
Yeah.
So today we will going to see before World War II tram.
That's it.
Actually, that time it was running.
Yeah, you're today in here, you'll see 3 trams. You can go on them and so on. So you'll see a boat tram, and that was designed for Blackpool when the sun was out and you could go in and sit and enjoy the sun whilst being on the tram. There's a tram behind that's an Edwardian tram. I think, is that 1901? The Edwardian, or 19, which one's
What,
that?
the Bolton one?
Yeah.
1901.
1901 that was built, and that was from Bolton. And then behind that is an illuminated tram. So in the illuminations,
Blackpool Christmas time illumination.
that's it. You have all the
I've been there.
some trams, lots of lights and
Lights,
so on.
yeah, I've been there.
Look really good.
Last year I was there in illumination time.
Oh really?
I think they
brilliant.
cancelled it one trip, and then I think there was some technical glitch.
Right, yeah, that's right, yeah. The joys of very old vehicles and so on. And then behind you over there is the main tram shed, and there are around 40 trams over there.
Yeah.
Again, double deckers, different different types of trams. And again, that's what makes Blackpool unique, is we have this massive variety of trams, not just one or two sets. And the other thing that we have that makes us unique is that if something breaks, we would have to manufacture it ourselves, because nobody else carries these parts anymore. And that was
So where did you get all those parts for the tram?
they would be manufactured here in this room.
It's not from China.
No, absolutely. So it's all British steel, and you'll see in the middle there's an underframe of a tram that was made in this very room last year. So it is a very unique space for that. And one of our roles is to raise the money to recruit an engineer to carry on supporting the tram so they can carry on running for another 100 years.
Okay, so this is still a workshop currently providing, like a hardware support or warranty support to the existing tram here in Blackpool.
Only the old ones. Only the old ones. Yeah. The new ones. They get their parts from Germany, Austria, and so on.
And they got a different workshop.
Different workshop. Yeah. Okay. So theirs is
but the old one is still running.
So the old ones at the moment aren't running, but we're hopefully going to get them back in the summer illuminations. We hope, because there have been some problems. So so we're really hoping that we see them again this summer.
Okay, great.
Brilliant, excellent. How was that for a working show?
So here's the paperwork. So this says, welcome to a workshop experience. Today we thank you for coming. Hope and you enjoyed. For health and safety, we are required to keep the floor now clean. And any company children are going to this. So not only there's a 3 heritage tram, open board 600 volt and 66. So let's see these trams. These are the parts, the so this one is board 600 decks of Cornwall. Blackpool Transport High-Tech Tram Fleet. The board cost 600, formerly 225, car type open board cars. So this one entered in the service 1934. That's great. So just want to show you. So this is the one currently I am on. It's entered in 1934. Let's go inside and see. You see the 1934? That's the tram. All this time watch, see this. So these are the units, how the tram operates. You see this? And this is the tram operated in 1934. Let's see. Bye. So I'm still on Tram 9, which is entered in the market 1934. Let's go and explore more. This is where we are on, which is Bolton car 60. You can see Bolton car 66. Bolton 66 built in 1901 by the Electric Railway in Trams, Kelch Falls in Preston. This is really good. So this car 706 Princess Allies
Yeah. So the stir rails, they're actually boiler pipes in Bolton Power Station.
You can see the tram. So Blackpool illuminations. So this is the one Blackpool illumination they use. And that's a very genuine Blackpool illumination historic item, My Little Pony. A classic item built in 1988, used for traditional fire-white glass molding technique that the illumination department is known for worldwide. That's really good. So this one is the Fisherman and Friends. The Blackwood Transport Heritage Trans Fleet car type illumination feature car, fleet number 737, and this one originally entered service 1937. I can show you the actual one. You see this one? So this is showing coke. Coke is a type of fuel made by heating coal in the absence of air to remove impurities like water, gas and tar. You can see this, how this works. This one is dirty surface. Okay. Okay.
There's another one here.
Oh my god, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's what I wanted to see. Inside.
Don't really like how much there.
Oh, they're building this one now. Okay.
Yeah, that one's under. We're going to put a new frame on that,
Yeah.
which is in the electrical compound. Yeah.
Yeah. Should go there? It's close.
No, I think
Okay, that's fine.
I'm pushing it as it is.
No, that's fine. That's fine now.
Because originally I only said the door, didn't I?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Well done, man. Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
you can see the roof of that one there.
Yeah.
It's,
I want to see the roof. Yeah.
it's all been rubbed down, ready for repainting.
Yeah.
I've been told they were going to they were going to make it into an illumination track.
Yeah. Can you how long it takes to build this one tram? Full assembly. It's months.
It takes years, there. Well, the problem we had with engineers is them getting time
And where
to
did they
do the
get all
work,
this
because
parts?
obviously they've got to keep certain trams running in operation, haven't they? And then try and do the.
And can I ask you one genuine question? Where did they get all these parts? Is that
Well, they make
who's-
a lot of their
who's
own parts.
manufacturing? Is that inline?
That's what all the machines are in there.
So all the parts manufactured here.
You've seen the forge, haven't
Yeah,
you?
yeah, I've seen the forge.
Yeah.
But I was just saying the engine and you know is that all manufactured here in UK or is this coming anything from outside?
Oh, the machinery, where it's
Yeah.
from. I think that the one that's in the corner, you're going to
Yeah.
come in the main doors there.
Yeah,
That is that's from 1925. I think that's a British machine.
that's a bit.
But there is something from Sweden. I'm sure there's something from Sweden in it.
Yeah,
And
the
there's
body
something-
parts.
Yeah, and there's something else from somewhere else as well. I can't think of it now. Different countries and that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you can actually see the tape.
Yeah,
You see the tape on the
Yeah.
the windows and that.
yeah.
So it was getting prepared for painting, and then all this happened basically. So this is sort of off limits really.
So what would you like to know?
You know the history about all this tram, the oldest one, and are they still in operation condition, and what are their history, and which one is the oldest one you have, and currently which one is still operating and which ones are not operating, and how do you maintain them? What are their operational costs?
Right.
And also are you getting enough support and help from the council, and
Right.
and you know all and currently if people want to hire, like, see, I've seen private hire, and some of the audience, for a birthday party or for a private hire, then how they can approach you, and what would be the cost for private hire for 5 hours, 6 hours, and how they can contact your office, and just give some brief history about this workshop first, and then we can go slowly to the next step.
Okay. Well, basically, this is where, within a few yards, it all started back in 1885. 29th of September was the first electric street tramway, certainly in the UK, and dependent on how you want to word it, it might even be in the world. There was an experiment the year before in the Winter Gardens grounds, when a gentleman called Holroyd Smith brought an electrical little tram over on some sort of like a display tramway within the grounds of the Winter Gardens. The council were very impressed, and so the next year they opened this tramway. It ran from basically about 100 yards from where we stood, from a place called Blundell Street, which is our housing estate, although a bit of the original track still does exist within the housing estate, and it ran to Cocker Square, which is just sort of basically north of North Pier. It ran on a conduit system, which the nearest I could describe it is like a scale-electric car set, racing set, where you've got a slot in the middle of the roadway where the power goes to the vehicle. It was sunken, so you couldn't touch it with anything metal and get electric shocks or anything. The only trouble with that is that when the sea came in, the seawall was nothing like as big as it is now, and basically the seawater went into the slot and shorted it out. Water and electricity don't mix very well, and so half the time they had to borrow the local co-op funeral horses from the cortege for the hearses, and borrow those to make it into a horse tramway until they fixed the electrics. Eventually, in 1899, they went to the overhead system that you see today, because that was more effective, especially with the sea keep inundating the tramway from time to time. So after a few years of being at Blundell Street, they started to expand, because obviously the town was expanding. If you expand, your transport system needs to expand. More vehicles, more trams, more buses, basically meant more works, and so we got to the things that you see here. Over to my right, your left, is the fitting shop. This is where basically all the major stuff is done for things like motors, traction motors, etc., and chassis built to the heavier bodywork, or the underneath parts of the trams are fitted out in there, including tyres. People don't realise that trams and trains have tyres, just the same as a car. It's just that instead of being made of rubber, they're made of metal, and so they have to be taken off when they wear out, and the thing for doing that is in there.
It's similar to steam train tyres.
Yeah, steam train, diesel, electric, all trains, all wagons, all coaches have tyres, the same as a car does. They're just not made of rubber, that's all. Yeah. So you have the main centre of the wheel, like your axle, but then you have something on the outside that can wear away, and then when you replace it, you don't have to replace the entire axle, just the outside. It would cost a fortune if you had to replace your axle every time your tyre wore out, that the tyre was the axle, so it's a separate issue, and we can show you how that works in there in a little bit perhaps. But more to get back to what you're asking originally, this is the depot that was built in the mid-30s. It was actually built as a tram depot, but its first job was to be a exhibition hall, because you can see it's a massive open space, and the first thing it actually did was run a dog show. And believe it or not, back in 1935, if I remember rightly. But then as soon as the exhibition hall wasn't needed anymore, the tracks were in. They didn't have to build the tracks were already there. They just uncovered the tracks off the flooring that the hall had, and it's a tram depot. So that's what happened back in the mid-30s. So what we've got here, 700, which is the first tram here, the green and cream double-decker. That's the prototype of the balloon cars as they became known. They were actually called super luxury dreadnoughts when they were originally brought in. And as you can imagine that in the time, in the 30s, these were really, the state of the art. You got one in the middle, the driver was protected from the weather, a lot of them weren't in previous trams. You'll see some in a little bit that will show you that. And so this was a really, state-of-the-art sort of tram. The entire fleet was renewed by a guy called Walter Luff, who was very forward thinking, and until basically 2010, when the old tramway had to shut to get the new trams in, the 2012 revamp, as you like, with the LRVs, the Flexity trams that we have on the prom today, they were the backbone of the fleet for many, many years, and most people who've come to Blackpool will have ridden on a balloon car or an open boat or a single deck version, which we call rail coaches, which were all the same sort of upgrade in the 1930s. Next to it, the yellow lorry is what's called a Unimog. Not really used anymore, that. It's a bit sort of a derelict vehicle at the moment, but they hope that somebody might be able to resurrect it at some point. And that basically is an engineering vehicle. It goes out to help, or used to go out to help any tram that needs towing in. And also there's a tower, so you could go and restore or refurbish any of the overhead if needed at night when the trams are finished. Next to it, the green one with half its panels off is called a Coronation. There are 25 of those built in 1952-53, hence their name, because it was the coronation year of Queen Elizabeth II. And basically they were very, very, again, forward thinking, beautiful trams, very, very luxurious, but a bit heavy. They were built by a company called Charles Roberts of Wakefield, and they were a bit over engineered perhaps of what they needed to be, and so basically they fell out a bit of favour over the years, which was a bit of a shame, because they are lovely trams. 3 survive, and all 3 are in this shed here, the depot here at Rigby Road. Next to it is the engineering tram 754, which was built a few years ago with bus parts to make it a cheaper version of making a new tram, and that's, as you can see, an engineering tram, and that again sort of replaces the Unimog and a couple of trams that were restored later on that were engineering trams and have now gone to other museums. Next to it you can see the back end of HMS Blackpool, which is one of the illuminated feature cars that goes out in the autumn illuminations. Next to that you've 718. A few years ago they decided that they would have a B fleet. There are 3 fleets now in Blackpool. The A fleet is the heritage trams like 717, which is next to 718. 718 has been sort of made into a B fleet. A B fleet is an old tram that can help the new trams if they need to. If it gets really, really busy and the trams can't cope, the Flexities out on the prom can't cope, those can go to any stop on the promenade where the platforms are for the DDA compliance for wheelchairs and pushchairs, which the new ones serve. The heritage ones don't have that ability. You can't really get on one of those easily. But the B fleet have had little sort of extra bit put on the side, like a little extra porch, if you want to put it that way, that allows them to get to any stop, so they can offset and help out the Flexities in really busy times. 717 is still a heritage one, if you want to put it that way. A C fleet. A fleet is a Flexities, by the way. And the one next to it with ABC written on it is the back end of the Santa Fe, which is again another illuminated
Are they
tram.
still in operating condition?
They're in operating condition, but they're not allowed to operate at the moment because the engineering department has had to be put on hold whilst they refurbish some of the works and get some more people in that can do the job and be certified through the council's
Health and safety,
transport department.
Yeah.
But they will hopefully, all things being equal, touch wood, be running for the illumination period. We've been told in the last couple of days that will be happening. So that's because that will be a big lost opportunity if they didn't.
Yeah, correct.
The orange one is an old balloon, a bit like what 717 used to
Is that the
look
purple
like.
one?
The what, sorry?
Is that the purple one?
No, we'll come to that in a minute.
Okay,
the orange one, the orange double decker, I'm literally doing it one by one for you. But it used to look like 717. In the sort of 1960s, early 70s, they realised that the way forward was what's called OMO, or one-man operation. I know that's not politically correct now, but it became one-person operated, which is more correct now. But at the time, it was mainly that men were driving these. So they became known as OMO cars. There is one survive, well there's 2 or 3 survive actually in various forms. One's at the back in here somewhere. And they basically meant that one person could operate the tram rather than having conductors, because one of your biggest costs, of course, is wages. So if you can cut the wages down, like a balloon car needs three staff, a driver and 2 conductors, one for the top deck, one for the bottom deck. So that's a lot of wages. If you can save 2 of those wages, then your tramway was already on the knife edge because of car ownership coming in, and people didn't need to have a tram necessarily to get to work. So the revenue was coming down and down and down over the years. So when an OMO car was envisaged as a way forward, which it was, it probably saved the tramway with the fleet of 13 OMO cars.
Yeah.
But you have a single deck version, which was that. Well, the orange one is a double deck version.
Yeah.
It's basically a balloon tram with one person operating it. So one person drives the whole
is
thing,
that- okay.
conducting, as in you pay the driver as you get on, like you do a bus nowadays. It's
cost
exactly
saving.
the same.
Yeah, one person without
yeah.
conductor
Yes,
operating. Yeah.
exactly. So
Okay.
it keeps the cost down. You've more chance of it surviving, and that's what literally the tramway in the 70s was, on a knife edge.
Yeah.
The one next to it is the one we're asked most about, the purple one, as
Yeah.
you say. That is car 710. 710 is the one that killed Alan Bradley. If you go on YouTube and you can see how he got killed and all this sort of stuff, it was the most watched episode of Coronation Street ever. Something like 26 million people watched Alan Bradley kicking the bucket by being hit by that tram specifically. So that's the one that we've saved to bring back here to have it restored back as it was when Alan Bradley was killed by it. So yes, that's a really
Is that the real
popular
one?
one. Yes, that's the actual tram. Yes. And some people ask, well, how do you do that? How do you kill a star? Well, it's very simple. You have the tram right up to the person, the star, reverse the tram away, and then run the film backwards. If you notice, the film itself is very, very cropped. There's no sky involved, it's just the front of the tram. Because if you think about it, if you then run the film backwards, let's just say there's a seagull flying when they filmed it the right way, but of course if you're running the film backwards, the seagull will be flying backwards, and you go, I see what you did there, and they don't want you to know that, so that's how they did it. You have the guy right up to the tram, reverse the tram away safely, and then just run the film the wrong way around, and it looks like the tram's hitting him, when in fact it wasn't. So that's how you kill a Coronation Street star. You have the exclusive to that. And the one in the background, the silver one, the silver one, yeah, that's a new tram.
Yeah.
It's called Tram Power. It's basically an experimental tram for bringing British trams back to Britain.
Yeah.
This is why I fully support it. We now have to go to Japan or Italy or Germany or wherever to have these trams built if we want them in Britain. And
They all are manufactured in Britain, and that's English made, all manufactured in England, no part coming from the outside.
That one is completely British, yes. At the moment we have to go to foreign countries. Sometimes they can be constructed in Britain, that's true, but it's a foreign company that does it. British workers sometimes, it doesn't always work that way, but sometimes they do. I think there's Derby, there's places there that can construct trams and trains that would be British workers, but the company will be a foreign company, like CAF or Bombardier or somebody like that, not a British company. That Tram Power one is built in Britain for Britain. British people have designed it and constructed it, and so it's an experimental one to see if that's something that can happen in the future. And here it's safe and sound until it's used properly on one of the experimental tramways.
One, not a double decker.
Yeah, the silver single decker.
How much is that capacity in this?
It'll be, at top of my head, I must admit, it's not something I know definitely, but it's more a standee tram, so it would be that there's not that many seats, but you're usually on it for a relatively short space of time. So basically, it would probably be 150 to 280 people, probably only about 40 or 50 seated, the rest would be standing, because as I say, you're not on it for very long. Usually on a tramway, it's only a 10-minute, 15-minute journey you'd need.
The point is, can they make enough revenue, cost saving, to survive those trams?
The what? Sorry, the.
Can they make enough money or revenue?
Oh, I'd have thought so. Yeah, yeah. The plan is that
tram
it will
can survive with one person. You know.
Oh yeah. Well, you'd probably have a couple of conductors. Or well, some systems though have it where you buy your ticket before you get on.
Yeah.
I think Sheffield has that, and Nottingham and places, and certainly
Still
Manchester
have,
does.
yeah.
Where you have to. So they don't actually need conductors as such. They just have a driver.
Yeah.
What they do have is roaming inspectors to make sure that everyone has got a ticket.
Yeah.
And as long as there's the threat, in inverted commas, that you could get caught, then most people buy a ticket up front.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily need conductors. Driver, obviously, that's essential, although there are driverless trams that do exist at the moment, and they may come in more and more. But at the moment, certainly a driver, some inspectors, some places have conductors. We have conductors in Blackpool. You get on the tram, you can have bought your ticket beforehand if you want, but equally you can have a conductor issuing it on the tram as well.
So is that still in operation? I mean, the one in Silver?
No, not at the moment. Nothing from this depot can operate at the moment.
Okay.
The heritage fleet is suspended, just suspended, not gone, just suspended whilst they sort out all the bits and bobs they need to do. The silver one was never part of the operational fleet as such. It was just a test vehicle. It was just here to be
When was
tested.
this built? The silver one?
It would be probably about 15 years ago now, so it does need a bit of a
It's not
revamp.
too old,
We're the
okay.
first to admit it. But at least it is a British-built modern tram that could and should be something that some operators might want to consider if they want to reintroduce trams in their places. Several cities are already having a look at it. Leeds and Bradford, that's definitely on the cards now. Should open in the next probably 5 to 10 years. Glasgow's been looking at it, Bristol, Bath, even Lancaster just up the road here has been looking at it, certainly to link in with perhaps the Eden project, or North Eden for the north.
Southport and...
Not heard of that, but there's possibility. Anywhere that's got narrow streets, tramways are perfect, like York and Chester and Bath, places like that. If you've got narrow streets where you don't have a lot of leeway of being able to wander about too much on the street, a tramway with a set track is the perfect solution to get people into your city centre where you don't have a lot of width for roads and streets and stuff. So yes, it can be very helpful.
Excellent.
Is to persuade the Preston and Wyre Railway to build a branch line to Blackpool. Fleetwood was far more important. You had to go to Fleetwood if you wanted to go to Scotland. That was it. End of. There was no discussion. There's Shap. Today, lorries struggle up Shap today.
There is ferry going on from Fleetwood to, the...
Yes, you went basically up to Ardross.
I've been to that ferry,
And then you went to Ardross, and then you had railways in Scotland. I'm not saying they didn't exist. They did. They just couldn't get up the bank of Shap. It was too powerful of an incline. 1856, they finally built a locomotive powerful enough, and so they could build a line over Shap. But for 16 years, you went to Fleetwood if you wanted to go to Scotland. Deal with it. Even Queen Victoria had to catch a boat. It doesn't matter that you're the Queen. You can't get up Shap because there's no locomotive powerful enough to take you yet. So it took 6 years for them to battle to get this branch line to Blackpool. But once that happened, it just exploded. I mean, the town was just like massive, and everyone came to Blackpool from the Wakes towns, like the Boltons and the Manchester and the Wigan and the Oldham.
It's becoming an international tourist location.
Oh, it just became massive. Because by massive coincidence, Blackpool exploded into that sort of genre of what it did by being the first place to deal with the worker from day one. Other seaside resorts already existed, like your Scarboroughs and your Bournemouths, but they were middle and upper class resorts that then catered for the worker when the workers started to get paid holidays. Blackpool just happened, by coincidence, to be the place that started from scratch to deal with the worker, because it was around that time that workers started to get paid holidays. Because the Wakes Week was basically a way of the mill owners having a week of no workers there, so they could refurbish all the machinery, all the mills, cotton mills, and all the having the weaving machines to basically be refurbished. You had a week of no workers there, and they could get on with it. So that week, it was worth it for them to pay them to not be there. So it gave them the chance to refurbish the machinery, and then became more efficient during the year. So basically that's where Blackpool just sort of became what it is. At one point, I think it was about 1911, 1912, I could be a year or two out, but something of that era, Blackpool Central Station was the most busy station in the world.
Point tram, you know, if somebody wants to, it says private hire.
Yeah.
Are they still available for private hiring?
Well, we can't at the moment because, as I say, all the heritage ones are suspended until we sort out all the engineering side that needs to back it up, which will happen, but it's not happened
It will
yet.
happen, okay.
To be fair, I'm one of the volunteers. I don't deal with the private hire side of things.
Okay,
You
no, that's
can
fine.
private hire them, that is true. Not at the moment, as I
Yeah.
say, but you could book it for future if you're having like a wedding coming up next
And
year.
how's
or
your
something
involvement,
like
David?
that.
I mean, are you the technical guy, or how's your involvement?
Mine's more the historical side.
Historical
I
side.
like the history of them. You ask me how that thing runs and what, you know, horsepower of motors. Not a clue, not an idea. But
Okay.
you tell me when it was built, or ask me when it was built, or whatever, and I can probably tell you most
Okay, so
of
you're
what
a
you need
history
to
guy,
know.
not a technical engineer.
Yeah, you tell me how many rivets are in it, and I'll go, yeah,
Okay,
there
no,
are,
that's fine.
and to agree with you, because I have no idea, and that doesn't particularly interest
and
me.
which
either.
one is currently in use for the Blackpool illumination? You know, I know last year I attended Blackpool illumination
Yeah.
lighting with one of the tram.
Yeah,
That was inside, I think. I don't know, was that or somewhere?
might be, yeah.
Yeah.
Operational at the moment, none of them.
No.
But before the illumination period, at least the Santa Fe, the ABC one, almost certainly HMS Blackpool, the white one, probably Sevic, which is in the back of the fitting shop,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
the trawler one, and probably one more. I would say 700, the green and cream one in front of you there.
Yeah.
For if it's inclement weather or they want a top deck tour, because all the others are single deckers, you see.
They
that's
will
the
be ready for this year.
all things being equal, yes, they should be. We were
But,
told this only on Saturday. Yeah, on Saturday by Jane Cole herself, the manager of Blackpool Transport Services. So if she says it, I'm fairly certain that that's going to happen. So you can be 99.9% certain that
You will
unless
enjoy the
something
Blackpool illumination this
absolute
year.
chaos happens,
Yeah.
then they should be out for the illumination. As I say, it would be a very big missed opportunity if they don't.
Yeah.
But hopefully they will, and I see no reason why they shouldn't. So certainly come and see your illuminations by Tram.
That
Yes.
was one of the biggest attraction all over the world. People come all over the world.
They
I
do,
know
yes,
because I
most
was a part of
definitely. Yeah.
that.
Most definitely they do, yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, David.
You're